We continue now and on to our lead. Today, the World Press Freedom Day provided a platform for multiple actors to exchange on current issues, threats and achievements concerning the freedom of the press. Limited access to government information and poor remuneration for journalists are among the key issues bedeviling the practice of journalism in Kenya, factors that have created greatly a challenge to the freedom of the press.
After making great strides towards the full realization of the freedom of speech and expression, the Kenyan journalism sphere is not that much favorite for journalists and players in the communication sector. Reports indicate that Kenya has taken back steps when it comes to championing for the freedom of expression and the rights of journalists, with cases of journalist attack rising again, which poses a threat to journalists.
We have a very clear provision for media freedom and freedom of expression in our constitution, and we have legislations that speaks also to media freedom. But having said that, we have incidents of harassment, intimidation. We have issues where journalists basically are threatened, where their equipment are confiscated for no reasons. We have places where journalists cannot go and report because they are not perceived as, they are perceived as being positive, supportive of some certain political factions.
The government of Kenya, which should be at the forefront of championing for a free and independent press, is slowly infringing on the rights of journalists by refusing to provide them with necessary information, or at times trying to cripple the operation of media houses by creating harsh business environments through advertising and legislation. This was revealed during the World Press Freedom Day conference in Naivasha, organized by the Ministry of Information and Media stakeholders.
It is also needed to educate Kenyans in general that media is very critical in our society. It is central. It's at the center of social transformation, and we need to safeguard security and interest of media as well.
We have concerns about the latest trends, which suggest that information flow from government to media and from government to public is really not as good as it used to be. Suddenly there's certain information that is not available, and mainly it's around accountability issues. It could be things that are of great public interest. And in this forum that we have had today, as we celebrate the World Press Freedom Day, that was emerging as a key concern. We were discussing things like the government advertising agency, where information on how it came about, information on how it operates, remain to date quite a mystery.
Despite Kenya having a promising future for its journalists, the wide array of challenges experienced in the profession both within and outside make it difficult for journalists to deliver quality work, and issue stakeholders in the media argue that if not fixed early enough, things may not be as rosy as expected.
Media houses don't have a choice. To have good journalists, you have to pay them well. And that's what has been happening. You see that media houses are in competition to attract the best talent. So to attract the best talent, you must pay for that. And that is working very, very well. So right now it works quite well to be a good journalist in this country.
Because the government has no monopoly at all of information, it is kind of threatened. It feels like, no, we need to control power. But luckily, already we have the Access to Information Act that was passed, and the government has no choice.
The East African region has dropped in the World Press Freedom Index. Kenya, for instance, dropped from position 96 to position 100, with her neighbor Tanzania dropping by 25 positions to position 118 out of 180 in the recent Press Freedom Index ranking. The government of Uganda, on the other side, has forced editors, producers and content generators in 15 media houses to resign for what the Minister of Information UCC termed as violation of Uganda's Communication Act, all this clearly indicating that the pressmen are not free. Kelvin Ogome, KUTV.